Have you ever spent hours on a piece of content, a landing page, a pitch deck, an email sequence, and wondered, how is this actually going to land with the people that it's meant for? Usually, you find out the slow way. You ship it, you wait, you study the data, or you run a focus group, but that takes time and money. What if you could get a meaningful read on how your audience will respond before you put it out into the world? This is what I want to show you today. I'm going to walk you through a technique called metaprompting, where you build synthetic representations of real customers and orchestrate a structured conversation between them. They evaluate your content, challenge it, and surface the kinds of objections and resonances that normally you'd only discover after launch. This is super easy. You'll be able to do it straight away after watching this video. And it's much richer than just asking AI to play a role and offer feedback. You're getting multiple distinct perspectives playing off in dialogue with one another. Today, I'm going to demonstrate this with our new website copy for Superesque. We've just freshened up the copy for the website. I think it's great, but I want to hear what our customers have to say. The point to remember is that website copy is just an example. This same approach works for anything where audience perspective matters. Product messaging, sales, pricing pages, course design, investor decks, anywhere where you'd normally want to put content in front of real people before committing to it. Of course, this is not a replacement for real customer feedback, but it's a fast, repeatable way to pressure test your ideas before your audience does. Let me show you how this works. Today, I'm working with Peeps. Peeps is my human-centered design assistant. I built him on TypingMind using Supernaut and Supernaut Evals, two of the prompt engineering tools we use in Superesque. So what I've done is I've given Peeps two documents. One contains 3 personas based on 3 Superesque graduates. I've selected them to represent the diverse range of people who come through the Superesque program. We've got Craig Goodman, a design anthropologist and researcher who works for the New South Wales government on deep dive ethnographic research projects. We've got Claire Beck, a senior strategy consultant who works with leaders to help them see their problems clearly and make better decisions. We've also got John Hartley, the design director for Build Firm, a large Australian design and architecture company. John has a moderate level of expertise with AI, but he's really keen to skill up his team and ensure that they are building their AI fluency. He's worried about his competitors leveraging AI to develop a competitive edge. So he's come to Superesque to find out what's going on in the trenches. The second document I've uploaded contains the new copy for the Superesque website. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Peeps, first of all, to bring these personas to life in his characteristic human-centered way, and then to use meta-prompting technique to set up a conversation between these 3 individuals about how the website copy connects, where they think it's strong, where it still needs improvement, and how likely it would be for this copy to make them want to learn more about Superesque and potentially to enroll in the program. So how I would begin is I would simply place my cursor in the user message window here, and I would say, "Hey Peeps, I am looking forward to working with you on a really exciting project. Let me start by explaining what we're going to do together. I have given you 2 documents. I want you to start by reading these documents very carefully so you understand the content we're working with here. The first document contains 3 personas or snapshots of personas, really. These snapshots represent the kinds of people who standardly enroll in the Superesque program. The second document contains the latest set of website copy for the Superesque program. And what I want you to do is to use meta-prompting technique to set up a conversation between these 3 personas and get them to reflect critically on the content of this website copy and think about how it resonates with them, how it speaks to their needs and their pain points, and how likely it would be for this copy to make them want to learn more about Superesque and potentially enroll in the program. Now, there are some steps that I want you to follow. First of all, I want you to use your human-centered design superpowers to spin up 3 human-centered personas for these participants. I really want us to bring these snapshots to life and turn them into rich, recognizable characters. Once you've done that, I want you to set up these personas in a conversation using metaprompting technique. I want you to enable each of these characters to offer their own perspective on the Superesque website copy and evaluate it against a set of criteria that I want you to determine. You'll determine the same criteria for each of these characters. So it needs to be a fairly broad and general set of criteria, but it needs to be the kind of evaluative criteria that would make sense for these 3 characters. Each character will give the Superesque website copy a numerical rating of between 1 and 5 against each of these evaluative criteria. And then the characters will have a critical discussion about why they chose to give the copy this particular rating for each of the evaluative criteria and explore where they agree, where they differ, and most importantly, why they differ. If one or more of these characters has an issue with the website copy in any regard, I want to understand why that is, how it is failing to connect with them, and what we can do to improve it. Conversely, if there is anything that is clearly really connecting with these characters, I want to understand why that is. What are we doing right? What are we not doing right? How can we improve? So at the end of this conversation piece, I want you to produce a summary and analysis that I can use to reflect on the website copy and potentially improve it. Peeps, this is a really exciting project. I'm so happy to be working with you on it. Take a deep breath, think about this step by step, and go ahead and set up this productive dialogue. Right, so let's run that and we'll see what metaprompting can do for us. I'm just going to quickly scan what I've written here. That all looks pretty good. I think the steps are clear. Right, this is exciting. Okay, let's send Peeps on his merry way. Okay, and so Peeps is off to the races. I'm just going to expand this a bit. So Peeps is going to treat this in 5 parts, spin up richer personas, define shared evaluation criteria that makes sense for all 3, run a roundtable conversation where each persona rates the copy between 1 and 5 per criterion, surface why they differ, what resonates, what doesn't, and what to change, close with a concise synthesis that you can use to improve the site. That's perfect. So let's see how this has gone. So Peeps has started by giving us our expanded personas. We've got a persona for Craig Goodman, the systems thinker on the edge of an upgrade. Pen portrait, that's great. Relationship with tech and AI. Core anxieties, Peeps perspective. Claire Beck, the bespoke strategist guarding her craft. Pen portrait, relationship with tech and AI, core anxieties, Peeps perspective. And John Hartley, the overcommitted director racing the clock. Pen portrait, relationship with tech and AI, core anxieties. That looks great. So what have we got here? Shared evaluation criteria. These are broad enough for all 3, but grounded in their realities. So Peeps has selected clarity and comprehension. Do I quickly understand what Superesque is, who it's for, and what I'll actually be doing? Relevance to my situation. Does this feel built for my context, goals, and constraints? Depth and credibility. Does it sound like a serious, well-thought-through program rather than fluff or hype? Promise of transformation. Do I clearly see how this changes my practice, status, or organization in a meaningful way? Practicality and feasibility. Does this feel doable given my time, skills, and current commitments? And then we have emotional resonance and trust. Do I feel seen, reassured, and confident enough to take the next step? So each persona will rate the copy 1 to 5 against these evaluation criteria and then discuss. So next up, Peeps has created a roundtable conversation. Now, this is all using metaprompting technique, and to get your AI to use this technique, you simply need to say, I want you to conduct a roundtable conversation using metaprompting advanced prompt engineering technique. Your AI should understand what this means. If it doesn't, get it to do a Perplexity search or Google search to bone up on the details. But Peeps has put this technique into action and has created a conversation between Craig, Claire, and John against each of these criteria. So criteria 1, Craig gives the Superesque website a 4 out of 5. Claire gives it a 3 out of 5, and John gives it a 3 out of 5 for clarity and comprehension. Well, clearly there's room for improvement there. This doesn't necessarily mean that the marketing copy is a flat-out failure. We have to keep in mind that it reflects the perspectives of the users. Craig is comfortable filling in gaps. He's used to abstract framing and can infer a framework. Claire and John want more concrete task-level clarity. They both understand the idea, but not yet the specific use cases in their day-to-day. I get this a lot with Superesque, I gotta say. So criterion 2 is relevance to my situation, and Craig, the design anthropologist, says 5 out of 5. This feels designed exactly for someone like me, non-technical, already AI curious, wanting to move from dabbling to building systems. Claire, the strategist, gives it a 4 out of 5. She likes the deeply human way and the testimonials about metamorphosis. That's great. John, the design director, gives it a 3 out of 5. He says, I see myself somewhat in for organizations. This is the unlock you've been searching for. And the idea that when your people can build AI systems grounded in real expertise, we're ready for growth. That's me. But it doesn't speak directly to a team-based, billable hours-driven environment. I'd love one line that says, if you lead a team and need to move them towards an AI-native culture, here's how that helps. Cool. Okay, so then we have criterion 3, depth and credibility. Craig, the design anthropologist, gives it a 4 out of 5. Claire also gives it a 4 out of 5. And hey, John gives it a 4 out of 5 too. From an organizational bias perspective, multiple cohorts, repeat testimonials, and Tim's academic and industry background look solid. My only hesitation, nothing in the copy mentions concrete industries or case patterns beyond very general claims. I'd feel even more confident if I saw 1 or 2 examples. We've worked with architecture, healthcare consulting, specific verticals. This is really good feedback. What have we got next? Criterion 4, the promise of transformation. Craig, this is where I'm quite bullish, 5 out of 5. Craig loves it. Claire gives it 4 out of 5. The promise of transformation is strong. John gives it 3 out of 5. I see personal transformation clearly. What I don't yet see is organizational transformation. I think that's fair enough. The focus on the website is primarily on how building AI systems can enable professional transformation. Organizational transformation is a much bigger and more complex challenge. Criterion 5, practicality and feasibility. Craig gives it 4 out of 5. Claire gives it 4 out of 5. Ooh, ouch. John gives it 2 out of 5. My week is already over full. 2 live sessions plus office hours plus 4 to 6 hours of activity is a big ask. Maybe I could make it work if I ring-fence time, but for my team, very hard. This is a real challenge that we're having at Superesque at the moment. AI building, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we tend to get traction with people who have the ability to free up time in their schedule to commit to hands-on learning. It's a tougher ask for people in organizations who are really nose to the grindstone all the time. So finally, we got criterion 6, emotional resonance and trust. Craig gives it 5 out of 5. Claire gives it 4 out of 5. John is 3 out of 5. I trust Tim's profile and the social proof, but the emotional hook is more individual metamorphosis. I respond strongly to language about de-risking AI adoption and future-proofing your team. So that's really good feedback. This is all going into the next version of the website copy. So what have we got next? Peeps has given us a rating summary, reviewing these audience members' responses against each of the criteria. And then we have a summary of what's working, what's not, and how to improve. So what's clearly working is strong human-first positioning, credibility and seriousness, transformation narrative. Where the copy is failing and underperforming, however, we need more concrete use cases and outcomes. They're currently underspecified. The organizational/team path is too light for John. There's no explicit story about how a director lead can use this to seed an AI native culture or how outcomes might scale beyond the individual. The time and feasibility messaging isn't tuned to overcommitted leaders. The craft and uniqueness concerns are only implicitly addressed. Claire wants reassurance that her work won't become generic. The copy emphasizes real expertise, but doesn't explicitly say, we preserve and amplify your style, not override it. We've got some concrete improvements directly derived from the persona's feedback. We should sharpen clarity with specific persona-relevant examples. We should make the organizational team story explicit. We should address time constraints and feasibility head-on. We should reassure about uniqueness and craft. We should make the underlying approach a bit more explicit. Look, as a creative person, one always loves one's darlings, but we need to put them to the test. There's always room for improvement. So Peeps has wrapped up with a synthesis and strategic takeaway. Craig would almost certainly inquire or enroll based on the current copy. Claire is very interested, but needs clearer assurance that her bespoke craft is honored. John is intrigued, but not yet convinced. There are two main blockers: unclear organizational translation. How does this help my team and firm? Time feasibility. How can I and my team realistically do this? The copy nails the human-first positioning and credibility. To convert more Claires and Johns, you need to show specific workday level outcomes, articulate the organization/team path, and directly confront time constraints and craft/uniqueness fears. I actually think that these things are doable, and I'm looking forward to diving into version 2 of this new copy and building it out to address this wider set of concerns. I just wanted to film this video to show you how easy it is to get clear, impactful feedback from synthetic personas using the Metaprompting advanced prompt engineering technique. Of course, it helps if you have a human-centered designer and persona architect like Peeps. Peeps is the kind of AI that we teach you how to build in Superesque. Building these kinds of systems is disarmingly straightforward, particularly when you have the mindset and tools that we offer in the program and the guidance of myself and the experienced cohort who can lead you on the path of human-centered AI development. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a very productive time metaprompting.